Wow. That shit's on the opposite side of things. Ooh, hey, I guess we got this thing going here. And if you need to chat with me, I'm right here. Let's see. Hello. Good Monday. Cool. I guess I'm a little late and everything, but 7 o'clock in the morning. But needless to say, I got up a little late. Well, I actually got up early and I thought I recorded it, but I want to thank you guys for coming. Always, we like to start our day off with a small prayer. And not like this because you'll wind up in chains as a slave, or basically in a sanctuary church and whatnot until, the ICE decides otherwise. Like this because you can easily get shot or have the cops called on you for, just being you where you are. And so do this like this. So this way, okay. So this way we can receive. All right. So we simply go, I thank God for my rising to good health. I also thank God for the opportunities He placed in front of me. So therefore, I can succeed with those at the best of my knowledge to His request, to help those who cannot help themselves, and to show some sympathy towards our enemies, a little bit of compassion, even though they deserve a patado en el culo. In His name, as in Jesus Christ, and the 227th heir to the throne of Jah Himself, King Haile Selassie, Jah Rastafari, Jah Rastafari, Jah Rastafari. Thank you for coming. You guys can talk to me any day of the week. I am live on YouTube. And I guess this is pretty much how this is going to go. So let me make that announcement here to these nice little people over here. I'm live on YouTube. I guess I am live on YouTube. The KTNG show, live on YouTube. Until then. Oh my goodness. I guess this is going to take a bit of time here to do that. So hopefully when that come up, I'll be able to post that for them and let people know where I'm at this point. Because needless to say, this is a startling mark to things. If I try and pull too much of, say, the of the processor on the laptop, I could easily lose all of my streams altogether. So we're trying not to do that. So if anything, as we would like to say, welcome to the KTNG Morning Show. See, there it is. There it is. There it is. Got some latency issues here, but I'm live on live on YouTube. So if anything, I like to have fun with the news, throwing some opinions and analysis of things that are happening to us and so forth that are going to be happening to us for quite some time. And I got a lead story here that I have to read off here. And none of these are any of my stories, so I don't have this stuff, and I'm letting you know exactly what the hell's going on here. So that way you can make an informed decision. This is the G to the R to the I to the T to the Z, ST, underneath the freeway. And on top of the bottom, for the top of the mountain, underneath the freeway, the freak on the peak who's about to speak. And if you let me entertain you for just a few more minutes, you will have something for the rest on your brain for the rest of the week. You know? So let's see, where are we on this? Where are we on this thing? Okay. That's mercy. We're taking forever with this. As it is now, but I think it is becoming even spot to do that on my phone or whatnot, because this thing is ringing off the hook here. So hang on. Okay. Oh, shit. Ow. Let's do that real quick, and then we'll get into what we like to get into, which is a whole bunch of mess. Yeah, okay. Where do things happen? So I am on YouTube, live on YouTube. Live on YouTube. Join the Convo. Morning Show. Small. And let's see. Hashtag send it on out there. Boom now. Okay, I guess we're on. Yeah, I guess we're on. I guess that's a good thing. Okay, so let's start with our first story of the day, which, needless to say, comes at a downfall for everyone who has fought for this. How many states are actually participating in this as well? This does require the hallmark of what people want, which is free and clear internet without, government or corporate intervention. But unfortunately, as it comes down to now, people, as of today, net neutrality has been repealed. It's going to affect you. Now, needless to say, not a very good thing, especially for who can barely afford it. But this means a lot as far as you can do on your cell phones as well. And a lot realize that because in many cases you have neutrality rules, which have required internet service providers to offer President Barack Obama in 2015 prohibited net providers from charging more for certain content or from giving preferential treatment to certain websites. Now, after the commission voted to repeal the rules in December, it faced a public outcry, legal challenges from state attorneys generals, and public interest groups, and a push by Democratic lawmakers. Users of the internet, needless to say, is your master of disaster cheeseburger. Okay. So something that could hurt small companies in several small states is taking charge to impose the rules on a local level. So therefore, thing is moving forward. Still, the repeal was a big win for Ajit Pai, the most corrupt jackass in the FCC, who has long opposed the regulations, saying they impeded innovation. What impedes innovation is corporate greed. The killing of say, small business. When there are chain businesses out here, they only pay 13%. Why? Because they got that huge tax cut at the beginning of the year, with Chief of Justice basically says, hey, it's all a corporate thing. We're going to rule this thing, and there's nothing anyone's going to be able to do about it. So again, hypothetical harms and historical prophecies are under those. What is that yellow thing? That's something that has something to do with something. Okay. Under those regulations, broadband service was considered a utility status, giving the FCC broad power over internet providers. So those practices, providers, transmission of data because of the nature of the content, as long as it was legal, authorization, service providers could not create an internet fast lane for companies and consumers. What everyone is worried about, for advocates argued that once the rules were scrapped, broadband providers would begin selling the internet in bundles, not unlike cable television packages. Want access to Facebook and Twitter? Under the bundling, getting on those sites would require paying for a premium social media package. So that means that will happen on your phone, okay? Your Obama phone. Another concern that consumers could say to play deals without rules prohibiting paid prioritization. A fast lane could be occupied by big internet and media companies as well as affluent households, while everyone else will be left on the slow lane. Okay. Some small business owners are worried too that industry giants could pay to get an edge and leave them on an unfair playing field. E-commerce startups have feared that they could end up on the losing paid prioritization with their websites and separately that those ran by internet behemoths, remote workers of all kinds, including freelancers and franchisees in the so-called gig economy, could simply face higher costs to do their jobs from home. Wow. Thanks a bunch. Thanks a bunch. So, the America's internet economy became an envy of the world thanks to a market-based. All of that is soon about to end today. Unfortunately, there was not enough. There were not enough voices. I voted for, the part of everybody has equal access. So I voted for try to give the FCC too much control over their business. Made it hard to expand their networks, which means if you don't have a server at this time, 9 times out of 10, everybody, America's internet companies, Amazon, Apple, Facebook, Google, and Microsoft control much of the online infrastructure from the app stores to operating systems to cloud store online business. So in that sense, we are looking at death, okay? Oh, death. Kill of net neutrality rules will only hasten its to go on. So therefore, we only have the doing net neutrality. It stems from there. So, and let me break this down into it has to do with access to the internet on down to AT&T stands to win it all. Okay. And with AT&T, we know AT&T has some shiesty services. Yes, they do. Services, to be made in a sense for premium bundled services from this point on. So when you get a new computer, you'll have a bundled premium internet service to pay for on top of, say, your. So imagine going, say, you're paying at best $40 and then adding another $24.95 a month on top of that. So that's $60 coming out of it. Now, keep in mind, people, if you're using a DSL line, that thing is you're only being charged as a goofballs parade of tirade. Needless to say, the G7 summit was nothing more than a dog and pony clown show. GOP strategists say that Cheeseburger beclowned himself at the G7 summit. I couldn't agree even that, because this is coming from a Republican from the Hill. Republican strategist Steve Schmidt said Sunday that Cheeseburger beclowned himself and disgraced the United Summit. From his slovenly appearance to his unpreparedness, ignorance, and arrogance, he beclowned himself. The Republican majority is filled with cowards who are servile supplicants to the most unfit POTUS ever. Okay? Unfit POTUS ever. I mean, he tweeted this stuff, okay? Because he was a former aide to Senator John McCain, okay? And an analysis also called Russian Vladimir Putin okay? Putin has engineered the unraveling of the Western alliance, fidelity to democracy in the United States, and the severing of the UK from the EU achievement, okay? Who else? And this guy's got another 20 more years in Russia to But then again, you have to think about it. You have to think about this, people. This came after 50 some odd years, almost 70 years of the United States interventions in the Middle East, interfering with the elections of different countries. Even in El Salvador, they basically did a lot of damage in Central America. And for some stupid reason, the the little ass majority of people that are out there that are basically just racist and fearful of a see this as like, and see this as the to any type of race wars. So that's why you have ICE that's been so deceptive in their practices when it comes to like children, especially unaccompanied children that they have split away from their families to find more people to deport. So needless to say, this is burling their shit at each other. Cheeseburger made headlines at the G7 summit Saturday when he called for Russia to be readmitted to the group after being removed over the annexation of Crimea. Other world leaders in the group rejected the proposal. I guess that's the reason why he got up and left so damn early. Okay. He also refused prime minister, quote, very dishonest and weak. Numbers. It's a numbers game. All right, people. You have 6 nations that are pissed off at us already because this jackass wants to be greedy about his tariffs. He wants to start a tariff war with all our allies. All these countries that have been to war with us, all these countries that we have fought with, all these countries that we try to, make a difference in the world and make it a more unified world. Free and so forth, democracy, based on the ideology of democracy, in order for people to actually say, okay, cool, we got something good, be as free as America, but at least we have certain freedoms here in our own countries that allow us to do and participate on the world devil sitting up here trying to manipulate things and lie about everything else and so forth. It's stupid, okay? It's not been for their stance on saying, okay, well, if we are charging 300% on this and we'll backtrack on to China. Who's the first one that backtracked the tariffs on to China? Okay, that was Cheeseburger himself. What? So that was why would they can be our information monitored to the NSA and to China as well? Okay, no, but not too many people realize. Electronic devices through the NSA, information where you live, everything. That makes our privacy issues very small, very, very small, which means our right to privacy is off out of fear. That's doing so. So when around him and not around Cheeseburger. I mean, come on. Nobody wants to live in America these days, especially. He was too young and too eager to please conservatives. His economic plan, master of distraction and disaster, Mr. PP man, Mr. I am better than everyone else because you feed my narcissist ego all the time. And of course, I'd rather choose opiates over, but I know that fucking up the peace process in North Korea. You know him better as Cheeseburger, burger. That's right. Has helped bring together the most bitter of Canadian enemies as he has lashed out at Trudeau following the Group of 7 meeting in Quebec. And even their Liberal Prime Minister for taking a tough tone in the United States-Canada trade conflict. In other words, we will not be seeing Super Dave Osborne anytime soon. James Watt, a Toronto-based conservative, I think sometimes it's got kudos over here. James Smith, the spokesman for the federal New Democratic Party, which is left of center, echoed the same thing on the right. All Canadians stand united against these inflammatory attacks on our government officials. I mean, come on. Cheeseburger made the idiotic mistake of saying that the Canadians burn. Okay, that's the reason why the Queen had an operation during the ceremonies. Anyway, Cheeseburger has made a career out of using bully tactics there's only one way to stop a bully: punch him in the freaking nose. But the sense of solidarity extends even further than Trudeau's approach this weekend. Watt and other Canadian political insiders from across the spectrum. Other actions on the world stage dealing with Cheeseburger is a unique dilemma, they say. And they have that can be any who values their and the people of Canada. And for the American consumer, of all those things, it would be suggestible to get a list of things that are on tariff pricing and try and stay away from them. That and the puddles that they leave behind. To plan of like action in case something like this does, we're posing tariffs on not the rich people, but the poor people. And these are the people who pay the taxes. These are the people who pay the surcharges. We pay more so for our goods and services than any, all kinds of perks and gifts. And come on, look at the EPA chief. The guy is so damn cheap. Like soap. So he doesn't have to lie. Okay. Grifting, this grifting just basically makes it all the better. Okay. So even Merkel of Germany said that the EU will retaliate against the tariffs themselves. Okay. So when German Chancellor Angela Merkel said on the 28-member bloc, well, we won't allow ourselves, and again, we will act too. Chancellor Cheeseburger would hit back with implement German vehicles, saying we will try to see if we can stop this from happening. Which means there will be BMWs, there'll be no Mercedes-Benzes, Alfa Romeos, or anything of that nature running around the United States highways, sucking up that special gas, the one that basically worked, that diesel fuel. Okay, what's the premise of it? Think about it, people. Her comments came amid an escalated contentious meeting between Cheeseburger and the other world leaders at the Group 7 summit in Canada over the weekend. Cheeseburger left the meeting between the world's leading industrialized countries with a warning to U.S. allies, saying that if they don't remove trade barriers, the U.S. will then be with the U.S. And well, if it hadn't been for, say, like the luxury tax back during the 80s, where, if you make more than $75,000, you got to pay the tax for the pricing of the cars in order for people to actually buy them. Now you're basically sitting, we got that out of the way, and we can basically impose your cars come over here cheap. And we're supposedly, right? Okay. So based on Justin's false statements at his news conference, and at the fact that Canada is charging massive tariffs to the U.S. farmers, workers, and companies, they have been instructed by the U.S. representatives not to endorse the communique as they look forward at tariffs on automobiles in the U.S. market. So, needless to say, sparked a whole bunch of crap going on. And the German chancellor's comments on Sunday came after Trudeau announced that Canada would implement its own retaliatory tariffs on the U.S. cheeseburger, giving Canada, the EU, and Mexico temporary exemptions from the steel and aluminum tariff. That means stupid ass wall you pay for, in like say 99-cent store. At 99, I'm serious. At 99-cent store, seriously, my 50 store. But then again, you have cheeseburger with it. So while we're all scraping and scrounging and whatnot, guess what happens? We get looted, man. We're getting looted. We're getting robbed here. We're getting robbed. Either services and everything. you more or less shut down any type of opportunity equally or in equity of like living in good neighborhoods, having good food and so forth to buy or anything of that. Systematically tear thing that our society needs in order to make way for a corporate world order. And when you have a corporate world order like this, you are putting people at harm. You're making slaves not account injustice from shooting, shooting a Latino man, and they basically just let them go. Okay. As you can see now, police violence against people of color has ratcheted itself up. 438 people died. Why? Because we voted out of fear for our own privacy. And now our privacy is being taken away from us from the repeal of net neutrality, from having tariffs in different countries who obviously, and I mean obviously, make their money off of us as money off of them. Okay? That sort of thing. The most richest nation on the planet, and now we are so damn tight-wadded, so abstinent. Here, okay, and keep in mind, people, keep in mind, Cheeseburger's a murdering motherfucker. All right, he's a murderous motherfucker. All right, because the G7, and the reason why these guys basically say, something, we're not going to basically, mess with you on tariffs. We're going to go in and we're going to do the exact same thing the Russians got caught doing to us, doing to elections for the last affect your democratic elections. Therefore, we're going to put a puppet in to get what we want. And guess what? You're going to follow suit. Every last one of you are going to follow suit. What does that mean? What does that actually mean? It means simple, people, simple. Your wages will never go up. The housing bubble is going to happen. That will. Everybody that's on Bitcoin at this particular point will have everything happen. By the Chinese and the Russians for those particular waterways. For what? To make sure they can get their chemicals in for more opiates and therefore causing what? Our Medicare system to be flooded with addiction problems. Okay? Legalizing marijuana. Wow. Slowly. You put out there the evidence of your laws and your racism, abject racism, and you. My goodness. We keep this up, people. It'll be this country will be divided into 4 sections. Those who want an ethno-state of their own and those who don't want an ethno-state beings. And if it takes Cheeseburger to clown himself at the G7 and then go all the way to North Korea where John Bolton is purportedly screwing with, okay? John Bolton just wants to simply blow these guys out of the fucking water. And if that's going to be the case, we're just marching ourselves to the greatest battlefield of all time. Isn't that a nice thing to do? Isn't that a great thing to do, especially when we're running out of money to make more bombs? Yeah, we're seriously, we're running out of money to make more bombs. And this comes behind Cheese, who bombs 3 damn countries in Africa all day, every 12 minutes. The 20-some odd bombs. 120-some odd bombs. But then, oh my God, 120,000 bombs on Yemen, Syria, and every place else. Okay, and this is crazy. It's crazy. It's like you have the Republican conservative Muslims against the Democratic Muslims based for the people, and they're all fighting together. Ethno states, and under religious, that makes it, oh my God, geez, loves dictators. He's got his mouth on Putin's ass. Oh, we outsource everything to China, from them, and the next thing you know, oh my, You know what happens then? The next thing you know, you know, we have, China play for North Korea. And when China is making a play for North Korea, who suffers? We do it all the time. We do this all the time, people. We do this all the time. And it's scary. It's blatantly scary. Blatantly scary to the fact that if we continue to do so at this rate, we will not only, become the more hated nation on the planet. We that should stand, stand transparent to the human rights abuses that we have committed times against humanity across this planet. And for that, we admonish our might, our strength, and most importantly, our ignorance and arrogance of who we are as human beings. Sure, this could be the greatest nation on the planet, but we have got to stop the roll. We can't fight that power. Then all that we have worked for, all that we strive for, all that we have, nothing but a floating dream that has no existence in history whatsoever. Think about it. Probably my last story here, make sure that we did this right, is our pathological instance, people, misery. Freedom ain't free, but misery comes in abundance. Pain, suffering, evil comes in abundance. And because we have a figurehead who basically shapes his hairdo like Wolverine, it looks like on his head, it's really scary, really scary. Okay? Scary when the immigrant files, those are basically being tossed around like a and I'm gonna read this thing to you of how our indecisiveness uh, within the G has been pretty much, as they would say, stuck on stupid. Mexican border, accusing the administration of causing undue trauma to children and parents who might be legally seeking asylum in the United States. This diaspora in which Black people have faced at the hands of this American society to build this country for them, only to have it being taken away as far as our history and our ancestors is concerned, now does this to immigrant children from Central America whose destabilization came at our hands. Some 1,500, here's a number, miles north of the United States-Mexico border, the debate over family separations to the home for the Federal Detention Center in SeaTac near Seattle-Tacoma International Airport. Oh boy. Who spent morning meeting with the recently moved detainees at the SeaTac facility. Most of them were from Salvador, gang violence and political persecution. Okay, that's kind of wicked when to that particular instance where the PC dives in and continues the brutalization of the matriarch. So the women there were concrete ponds where she had visited. And oh my goodness. Come on, baby. Where are you? I was in a good role. I was in a good role too. Where are you? Man, Well, people, I guess this is pretty much what they would say. Hmm, very concrete evidence that, yeah, we need some upgrades here. And the best way to do that and everything is to make sure that you can support our Patreon page. Yeah, I mean, I don't have the greatest equipment here. I don't have equipment decent enough to do what I need to do. But I can see now that this is just a struggle, considering that my last story got pretty much like picked up. So uh, flee from the instances of rape, murder, kidnapping, government collusion with the police and so forth to rob and kill as many people that are thought dealers, or for that matter, the cartels themselves are looking for recruits so they can fight the government. It's not a revolutionary expanse of anything of that. Okay, happen. What needs to happen and what people need to think about is how they can get their lands back, how they can get all the things that they need back. Okay. Yeah, I mean, you're all lucky. I swear to God, I have international friends who are all over the place. I really do. And they're really good people doing their thing. Today's a sweet story. We'll try connecting. Yes, I know my stable connection is. Oh, that's right. I forgot. Oh, yeah. Okay. And we're going to have our stories lined up. And I'll finish this for you. Okay. There we go. Cool. But does what he does. So the women were in three separate concrete pods when she visited in Jalapal. She said she and an interpreter first asked them to respond to questions by raising their hands. How many were mothers who had been forcibly separated? More than half of the women raised months, and many no longer knew. Absolutely heartbreaking. And I've been doing immigration rights work for almost 2 decades. I'm not new to these stories. Jayapal told the Washington Post on Sunday that I will tell you that there was not a dry eye in the house. Some of them heard their children screaming for them in the next room. Not a single one of them had been allowed to say goodbye or explain to them what was happening. Just like black slavery. Moving 1,600 detainees to federal prisons due to the current surge in illegal border crossings and implementation of the U.S. Department of Justice zero tolerance policy count privately contracted facilities. Jayapal relayed disturbing accounts of being the Star Spangled Forget-Me-Nots, Star Spangled Banner my ass. I cannot pledge allegiance to anything that takes and removes harboring, whatever, on suspicion. 120,000 bombs on poor people. Chappelle says the one woman said that she wanted to be with the children, and he told her, "You will not have a family anymore." So on Saturday afternoon, in describing her visit, quote, the mothers could not stop crying when they spoke about their children and she called for the Cheeseburger administration to reunite. Always had problems with the criminalization of immigrants. But this is a new low. Who are asylum seekers and throw to the facility of autocracy. That's crazy. Inhumane, callous indifference, and willful injury to children must stop. In other words, we take in little boys, little children, sacrifices, all in the name of the Illuminati. And now the Illuminati has lost control because it is a corporate world order. In recent weeks, outrage over the treatment of children is taken into U.S. custody at the southwestern border has reached a fever pitch. Cheeseburger has falsely blamed Democrats for It is causing family separations. But in reality, no such law exists. His administration, however, announced a quote unquote zero tolerance policy in early May, under which they tried to persecute every person who crossed the southwestern border illegally, even if some of them could or should not be treated as asylum seekers and being taken from their parents at their border. If people don't want to be separated from their children, they should not bring them with them. We've got to get the message out. You are not given immunity. Okay. On Saturday, Washington State's Attorney General Bob Ferguson, who was also at the rally, did not mince words when he explained that he of 10-year-old twins. It's outrageous. Frankly, I'm not sure how Attorney General Washington state officials were looking into whether they had grounds to sue the federal government to halt the family separations. Last Thursday, he in a letter to several top immigration officials, including acting U.S. Attorney, to questions about women seeking asylum who were being transferred to the detention center in SeaTac. Quote, where are their children? Claims Saturday, Isley told the crowd that separating families was un-American, that the infliction of trauma on immigrant children was intentional and not. Remember, in May, they said they wanted a zero tolerance policy, and if you come here with your kids gonna get snatched up. Today, we are not just to protect children, but to protect our basic character as Americans, Inslee said. Any parent, any grandparent, anyone with a drop of blood in their heart can understand the anxiety and the fear trauma causation from your parents, particularly those who have had to suffer violence, the very reason for their seeking amnesty. Amazing, isn't it? It is amazing. It is totally amazing to me that we will, it says, send us your weak, your huddled masses, your persecuted, those who are basically been thrown aside. You can stretch meals walk for days on end. But we can't do the same for people. We can't do the same to save people's lives. We can't even do nothing for children except for exploit them continuously. And because of our own barrenness, our own inability, close to the birth rate in this doggone country, we now want to separate. We now want to make this particular problem on everybody else that comes in, legally or illegally. It doesn't matter. We'll be separated. You will go through the same disparity that we've given the blacks, and there will be no reparations whatsoever. Doesn't matter. As long as you show up here, we got you. That's America. They take, and give so little. And when you get that little, you're grateful to God that you got it. And you celebrate and you party and bullshit and thinking that everything is okay within your existence. But it is not, because your existence is the around you. And everybody has a different color. I say no to an ethno-state. I say no to the corporate world order. I say no to robbing. No. Okay? I say no to rights abuses that they will never talk about in Singapore, that they will never talk about the UN in front of the UN, that America itself will. We still got 1,000 damn one year. Okay? Just that alone, nearly 45,000 bombs. Okay? Already. This is something the media won't up. Okay? They won't. And as long as they continue of, another person's way of life, we want everybody. That wraps it up, people. But I'm giving you something to think about. And here's my final question. Do we have the right to subjugate the entire world because we think we're number one? I'll put that poll up on my Patreon page. You can support news programs like this, opinion programs as well. I mean, come on. Rachel Maddow, she's got her show on CNN and she does it, and she gets the thousands of likes and looks at it and so forth. These are the people who are so stuck on the. So these are the people who are so stuck on the left that they cannot see the other news that is coming up because I told you so. And saying I told you doesn't come the picture of the day. All right, people, I got to get out of here. I finally figured out how to work with this thing, but it's going to take a little bit more than just the stream itself. So if anything, I will get better with this, and when I do, it'll be. Make sure you guys look at our stuff at the Patreon page, the EBC Ghetto Chef, and support us at patreon.com/EBT Ghetto Chef. Got great prizes for that. I'll make sure you get as well. Most importantly, I want you guys to go out there and do what you can for others as well as you can do for yourself. But most importantly, never let anybody take your shine and let nobody dull your smile. The KTNG Morning, thank you for tuning in. And we'll get back to you guys tomorrow with more analysis of today's news and what we could expect if we keep to Armageddon. Peace and chicken grease, people. I am done. I think that we can do that there. Okay. And that here. Okay. Hopefully this bad boy comes up. Shamalama ding dong, baby. Shamalama ding dong. Smile for the camera. Yes. Yeah, this is terrible. Oof. This is terrible. Oh my. What do we do? Oh my goodness. Yeah.